Hello everyone, so today what we're going to be catching up on is just some information coming out from the US dollar ZAR. Really struck us by surprise. They actually said that they were going to be doing a silent vote of no confidence for today. Today we're sitting on the 8th of August 2017, and basically what is happening is they're going to be doing a silent ballot vote of no confidence on if they should or shouldn't remove Jacob Zuma as the president of South Africa. And obviously it's causing a major volatile move in the South African markets. So you can see I'm short in the market now. I'm back on my retail account, not going to use institutional accounts for today. I've got it on the side here, so I'm in on some positions from earlier on yesterday. Fortunately, I caught a bit of a spiking entry here, so I was getting a little bit worried on this push. I thought there would be a strong resistance area here, but it broke. But now it's sort of back down, and I'm going to be holding. So what I'm basically going to be doing is just showing you some of that information. We're also going to be having a look at some of the other trades that I released in the previous video coming out. But basically, I think what we're trying to have a look at here is using our political trading strategies. And, you know, more specifically, I just wanted to make it clear that as a trader trading in multiple different markets, you know, your weapon is your strategy, and your strategies are the most important thing you need to learn. Understanding your strategies and understanding why you do what you do as a trader so you can make money is very important. And one of those strategies that I feel a lot of people sometimes don't use, which we do use a huge amount, is trading your political based trading strategies. So that's obviously understanding what's happening in the political market around the world and how can we make money off of it. And that's more specifically what you can see we're doing here. So in terms of what's happening in South Africa right now, just to give you a bit of an insight on this, so I'll obviously give you some practical application training. So basically what has happened over the past couple of months, our President Jacob Zuma of South Africa, as some of you may know, I live in South Africa, our President has decided to make some very interesting decisions, some very controversial decisions, mainly on his part. He's reshuffled the cabinet to obviously his preference, which means that he can pass policies and regulations a lot easier, and it gives him a lot more freedom to move, which is obviously very bad to have. Secondly, he has fired our finance minister, Pravin Gordhan, among a very, very controversial investigation, which has led to very little findings. So obviously we know it was an absolute witch hunt. We know there was nothing behind it, and it caused a major damning effect to the South African market and the South African industry. We had been downgraded by two different international exchanges, and that has caused for the South African economy to fall into what some people are calling a financial recession. Now, if you have a look at the economic data, unemployment rates have been the highest since 2003, and there have been a lot of major effects. Obviously, you can see banking the benchmark of the rand against the US dollar. We have been seeing a strong weakening of the currency. If we have a look on the charts here, you can see there has been strong weakening of the currency on the hourly charts. But an important thing that we have to look at is we are on a downward trend. The problem is this downward trend is forming what we could necessarily call a volatility funnel. So as you can see here, if I get rid of this line here, you can obviously see that it's forming a downward trend here, but it's holding this lower support area quite strongly, which obviously means there's an opportunity for a breakout. But obviously we do not want this breakout to move back to the upside. Moving this breakout back to the upside could cause a lot of damning volatility for us. You know, being able to sit at a rough price of 13 Rand 16 cents to the dollar is already more difficult enough for us. But as you can see in the past, we've even pushed our way up to that 1680 region. And obviously, as this breakout technically based, obviously I'll need to trade it. So a big important thing that I'm understanding is I need to take my my political bias out of this. Being my own country, I need to make sure that I'm not wanting to bet on the price to go down, even though I wanted to. I need to know that the currency could easily weaken a lot more against the dollar, and we could see a breakout to the upside here. as you can see, I am in on a position. The positions I have open on this account and on my institutional accounts are purely speculative positions. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just getting a feel for the market. So this is what we call a speculation position, where we're basically having a look for an entry point. We know that it could be a losing position, but amidst this news, our ratio sitting on this trade, a lose to win ratio was 6 times what we could have lost. So obviously a 6 times profit forecast, when there's sort of a 50-50 chance that he either stays in or goes out, is quite a good risk over reward. So what I'm basically doing is I'm poking the market with a position to see what we'll be able to get from it. So as you can see here, I've entered in on a position on the sell-off region. You could see there was a lower test over here, where basically the market was sort of testing this lower support region in these areas, but now the market has decided to move down, and you can see these areas here, this previous support area, this support area, and these support areas here have been broken quite strongly by a single hourly candle that we're having a look at. So obviously we got the form of the new candle. We're 19 minutes into this candle, so this candle is quite new, but you can see it's already formed quite a strong wick, testing that upper neckline, and it seems like it's begun to turn bearish. So seeing a possibility for this candle to move lower, I'm obviously hoping for market to move into this lower region here. So as you can see, let's actually throw some candlesticks up, not some candlesticks, some arrows. So obviously what we got here, we've got price testing this region here in as a resistance level, price slightly breaking this, causing a bearish cloud cover, and as you can see, back over in this time period here, don't forget we're on the hourly, back over in this time period here, yeah, we've got market moving lower already. They have just gone into start sitting down in Parliament for the vote coming out at 2 p.m. So we've got 2 hours going into the vote. But as you can see here, technically speaking, back of the charts, this is a strong support and resistance level that we're having a look at. Now we can see market is falling. So you can see this hourly candle has begun to retrace even further. Obviously, I'm going to have a look closely on this MFI. But basically, what I'm saying is this could be a very strong technical barrier that we're moving towards. So obviously, what I'm going to be having a look at is seeing if I can cover a portion of my position here. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to on my resale account. On my institutional account, I have entered on a few position sizes. So one of my target areas is going to be this lower point here, and my next few target areas are going to be lower in the region if he does get voted out. Obviously, if he does get voted out, going into the rest of the week, you're going to see a very strong sell-off. So basically, where is my long-term hold going to be? If we have a look on the daily chart here, I feel that in terms of where we're looking at on the stochastic, we definitely have a movement to move back to this lower region here and possibly to this lower region. So both support areas, obviously what you're going to be seeing is I'll take money early and then I'll hold to some of these support regions here, and hopefully if we see a breakout, I'll probably hold to this lower region. So my risk over reward on this retail account alone is frighteningly small. You know, this if I have a look at what this price is going to be, we're looking at $49 return on this trade, where I was risking a $10 position. So I was risking, I set my stop loss just above this region. That stop distance was basically a $10 loss versus a $50 reward. So now we're looking on a $50 a profit, and on a 50-50% chance that he gets voted out. So 50% chance that he stays in, 50% chance that he stays out. If he gets kicked out, we're going to see price moving a lot lower, possibly to this region. So obviously this risk over reward is incredibly good. And also what I've decided to do is move my stop into my profit region. So I've moved my stop into about a 1 pip profit, just in case the market does retrace strongly and we see a move back up. But also a very strong parameter to understand is I've entered on this region here. So if you have a look on this daily chart, let me just throw up a few other candles, a few other arrows. Let's have a look at the arrow up here. We have a look at this position here. We've got a strong support area on this level, followed by another very strong support level. And let's just, selecting arrows is not my talent. So you can see there's 3 strong support areas here, followed by a very strong breakdown. Obviously this breakdown went back to test up the higher region, followed by a move back down. So that's possibly what I'm looking at. I'm looking at price moving back down into this region here, just like it did previously. So let's have a look at what it did previously. You can see price was moving downward, strong breakdown to this region, lower support test, and then followed by a move back up to the top. It gassed quite a lot, and then price moved continually back down. So what I'm effectively having a look at is obviously this upper resistance region. If we put some candles here, I always call them candles, arrows, Morgan. If we have a look here, you can see this upper resistance area has been tested strongly. So obviously what we're having a look at here is we're expecting price to move lower into this region. But basically what I'm going to have a look at is I've got my stop set, I've got my take profit set. I'm going to be out of this market in, what should I have said there? I should have been saying I'm going to be out of this market fast as I've been in this market. So what I'm basically going to say is anything moves back up to this resistance area and breaks out, I'll be in on a buy. If anything moves lower, I'm going to be in on a sell. Obviously, if he is voted out over the long-term period, over the weekly period, we're going to see a big sell-off. So, we're going to see price moving lower. We're going to see a strong movement of price moving lower, and hopefully we can see a breakout of this lower resistance region on this $13 whole resistance, the 13 Rand whole resistance region. So obviously, if we see that happening, we've got price hopefully moving back down into this region here, maybe even moving a little bit lower to this previous resistance spike area. So obviously we could easily move down into the 12 Rand to the dollar region. Maybe if we're very lucky, we could even be spiking the 11 Rand to the dollar region. So obviously you can see here, this is a very strong spike followed by a strong volatility moving down to the downside. Obviously if he stays in, we're going to see price moving a lot higher. If he gets out, if he gets told to leave, we're going to see price moving a lot lower. Now another one we're obviously going to see, which is going to be a strong parameter to understand, is who's going to come in after him. So what we're going to have is an interim period of 30 days for the ANC to select a new president, and then we could easily see someone throw a cat amongst the pigeons if we do not like the person that comes in, which if that happens, we're obviously going to see a possibility for markets to retrace and keep on going bullish. But basically we got a 4-week window. We got a 4-week window from, let's say he gets voted out today, we got 4 weeks to capitalize on a strong move downwards before they send out an announcement saying who they're going to announce. Obviously if they vote in someone like Cyril Ramaphosa, who is a very strong businessman, he's got a very strong outlook on economics and how to reduce the unemployment rates, how to invest back into the community. He is going to be good for the US dollar versus the rand, and he's going to be good for the South African economy. So we're going to see price move a lot lower. If they vote in someone that we don't really want, we're going to see price move back up. So obviously we've got a 4-week window to capitalize on a political based trading strategy where we are using the strong technicals as well. Obviously we are having a look at what's happening in this price area here. You can see there's a strong range moving on the weekly chart. So if we have a look and we draw a area here, you can see price is moving very strongly between these two regions here. So obviously what we're having a look at is price to move back down to this lower region so we can capitalize. That is effectively the strategy that we're going to be using. So obviously on my account, we're sitting up on this trade alone, $7.57. On my institutional account, we're setting up quite a fair amount more. So what I'm going to be doing is having a look at if I can take some of this profit and I can get out the market for a good return. Obviously what I'm hoping for is this $50 return. I mean, if I can push a $50 return on this small retail account, I'm going to be incredibly happy. $50 return will be a 5% return on a single position. That would be very happy. That would make me very happy as well. And obviously this shows you a very good example of how do you trade with a smaller account. More specifically, the reason why I use this account, which I mentioned in previous videos, is my traders, my students, they're not using big accounts. They're not using a few $100,000 accounts. They're using small accounts. That's why I use this account. So I can actually show you how you really use a small account to make a lot of money. That is my main effort that I'm putting into this, to show you exactly what you need to expect and what you need to do trading a small account, managing your risk properly. So obviously this was a 5 times profit over reward, $50 profit option versus a $10 loss. And obviously now I've moved my stop into a slight profit, obviously because on this daily chart I have no doubt that if price moves back up there, it's not going to be because it's retesting the region. It's going to be clearly because it doesn't like the news that's come out, and price is going to move back up. So obviously what I'm basically holding this is for the long term, to see if price can move back down to this lower region on the daily chart. Obviously on my institutional accounts, I've got a few different multi-layered positions. One of them is very close to being triggered in this region here, that I'll probably pull for some profit, and then the rest, what I'm going to be doing is moving my stops just below this area here, and basically I'm going to hold them for a long-term period and leave them to do what they want. If they move back into loss, that's fine. I don't mind not making money on the position, but my main focus is to trade my strategy. I know what I'm doing here, and I know that my students understand what they need to do as well. But what I'm basically doing is just giving you some practical application examples of exactly how you trade a political trading strategy. Obviously, this is going to be important for us to see what the news is going to be coming out. Obviously, if there is bad news coming out, we're going to be stopped out. I'll be stopped out in a little bit of profit. I mean, hey, that's 1 day worth of trading. I'm already probably going to take some money off the table, and I'm going to be out the market. Whatever happens after that happens. I'm not too worried about whatever money I take or don't make. Obviously, at the end of the day, we want to try and focus on making money, but more so, we want to focus on trading our strategies properly. We want to use the strategies that we know and use the strategies that work well. So I'm going to hold out this position. I'm going to obviously leave some space for volatility to move, and I'm going to have a look at what happens. Obviously, we might see the EMA, the 13 EMA might be retested and pushed back down, but obviously if that happens, we're not going to worry too much. So if I see a retracement back into this area, I don't mind, but obviously I'm waiting for price to move down to this lower region here. Once again, just like I said, using a basic political-based trading strategy of how we would have traded, what happened today, and what we are actually already doing. I hope you take some good information from this, and in terms of political-based trading strategies, they are very important for you to have because they cause major moves in the market. Depending on who gets voted in, who gets voted out, wherever you are in the world, you need to understand how to trade a political-based trading strategy. I really urge for you to learn the most you can about it. Obviously, once again, to all of you who are interested in finding out what we actually do, so basically what I do is I teach people how to trade and invest and manage their wealth properly. It is a strong process that we teach at MS Equities. As you can see, I'm just throwing up the website here. If you want to go have a look about what we do, there will be the links down below in the description. You can see this is just our page on training, showing us what we offer in our training academy, what access we are offering. The reason why we run MS Equities is because I also run an investment fund as well, and I'm looking for talent. I'm looking for people out there in the market that know what they're doing, that I can back with my own capital, and I can be able to get them to profit and make money in the financial market so we can all make money together. And that is effectively why I run this academy. We're trying to show people how they can manage and invest their wealth, and we're hoping to take the select few people and bring them into our investment fund and back them with capital so they can actually get, firstly, professional experience, secondly, they can have a strong track record, and thirdly, they can make money and produce a return for our investment group as well. To work for us, you can see there is a link over there about our ambassadors program. We're going to be throwing up some information about our internship program as well. To contact us, just send us your details. We'll make sure to be in contact with you immediately. So once again, guys, like I said, we're having a look at this political-based trading strategy. We've dropped down a little bit of profit here. You can see market has caused a tail wick here, but we're going to be holding on to this for the rest of the day, seeing how much more money we can make. Hope you all enjoyed this video and had a great time watching. Once again, we'll see you in the next video. Cheers for now, everyone.